Hello everyone, I'm Santiago, and today I'm gonna be testing Forza Motorsport 7 demo on the GeForce GTX 1060 6GB for FPS monitoring. This time I won't be using CAM since it's not currently working with Universal Windows applications, so I'll be using MSI Afterburner instead. And if you enjoy the content and want to support the channel directly, there's a link to the Patreon page down in the description. So Forza Motorsport 7 demo, I'll be doing 1080p, 1440p and 4K. To skip any of those sections of the video, check the description below. So my objective here is to try and get 60 frames per second, since that was what this game was designed for. The consoles will run it at that frame rate, so I will just target 60 frames per second. On 1080p, by using max settings and 8x MSAA, it was enough to be at 60 frames per second pretty much all the time, with a lot of GPU usage to spare, and 8x MSAA for me it's already too overkill. 4x MSAA at 1080p for me is more than enough, but you'll see sometimes a spike in the frame times, not really a big problem in my opinion, but I ran into that using better CPUs and GPUs, so I guess that it will be fixed once the game is out next month, hopefully. At 1440p once again I used max settings, but this time 4x MSAA. Again, overkill in my opinion at this resolution, and it's still more than enough to get 60 frames per second, just like on 1080p. And finally at 4K I decided to overclock the GTX 1060. Many people can bump up the frequency that high for what I could see on the internet, so it should be very easy to achieve this overclock on a card like this. I used max settings and 2x MSAA, and it stays at 60 frames per second with some drops to 50 frames per second when there are water splashes in rainy weather, but you can turn off MSAA and lower particles a little bit if that bothers you too much. I tried a better CPU, but I didn't spot any difference in performance so far. The game likes to max out one thread, so I suspect that's the reason why. High single-threaded performance will benefit you the most here, but for 60 frames per second the G4560 appears to be enough. One very important thing I need to mention is that this game appears to have a noticeable bug. When I first get into a race, everything runs fine, but if I finish or quit the race and join any other event, the game runs much worse, and sometimes it even stutters a lot without a reason at all. So I recommend every time you try different graphic settings or different stages or whatever, just restart the game. That worked for me so far. I'm not sure about what's going on with that, but hopefully for the release day in less than a month from now, they have a fix for this issue. For some reason we can't unlock the frame rate, so we are limited to 60 frames per second. The dynamic option there seems to just swap between the 30 frames per second and 60 frames per second lock if performance suffers too much. For this video I didn't use any of the graphics options as dynamic, but what that does is just change the settings you put on dynamic in real time to maintain a more consistent frame rate. Personally, I found it to be too aggressive sometimes, to the point of using much lower quality compared to what I could do manually, so it's up to you if you want to use it or not. I didn't find any post AA options available. We only have MSAA, which is a big impact in performance and on the VRAM usage. It would be nice to have FXAA and SMAA available here at the very least. So far the reflection, mirror, anti-aliasing, car quality and shadow options seem to have the bigger impact in performance, so I would try to lower most things in groups to notice a performance improvement. Anyway guys, that's pretty much it. I hope you keep enjoying the video, thanks for watching and see you next time.